Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about still the difference between linear and nonlinear, but now we're going to focus on the table of values. So yesterday we talked about the difference between what linear and nonlinear graphs look like and what the equations look like. So remember that a linear function is a function that has a constant rate of change. And of course, what we said yesterday is its graph is a straight line. Well, in this example, we're actually given this graph here, so we don't have to necessarily try to figure out if it has a constant rate of change just by looking at the ordered pairs. We can actually figure it out by making the graph. So let's go ahead and plot these points. So we've got 1, -1. Notice this is going up by 2's, so we're going to have to go in the middle. 2, 2 is the next point, followed by 3, 5, and then 4, 8. So when we plot these points and draw the line to connect them, we can definitely see that this is going to be forming a straight line. So with this forming a straight line, then we know for sure that this is a linear function. Well, it has to have a constant rate of change. So if it has a constant rate of change, then that means that we should be able to find a slope for this line. And with the graph here, we could do that. We could draw that slope triangle and count from one point to the other the rise over run. But sometimes we won't be given the graph to be able to do this. And so if that's the case, we can actually figure out whether it has a constant rate of change from the ordered pairs or not. And we'll look at that in the next example. So in this example here, it's asking us if each relation defined by each table represents a linear function. So the way that we're going to tell for that is by looking at what the change is in the output, so the change in the y, over the change in the x, the input. So when we look at this first table, we can see that from the first point to the next, that's an increase of 2. And then we look at the next one, from 4 to 7, that's an increase of 3. Now right away you might say, okay, well there's no way this is going to have a constant rate of change, but for it to be a rate of change, we have to go by definition, the change in y over the change in x. We're going to still keep going here, and that would be a change in 1. And then from 8 to 10 would be a change of 2. So what we should be looking at is that now that we have these output values, if we put the input underneath them, if they all come out to be exactly the same, that's a constant rate of change. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen here, because what's happening over here for each one is each one of these is increasing by 1. So when you increase by 1, you increase by 1, you increase by 1 there, you increase by 1 there. From this change from 2 to 4 and 0 to 1, that gives you a rate of change of 2. This gives you a rate of change of 3. This gives you a rate of change of 1. And this gives you a rate of change of 2. So we could see that we don't have a constant rate of change. So therefore, that means that this is an example of a table that's nonlinear, as it has a varied rate of change. Let's look at the next one. We look at the next one here. This is going up by 1. This is going up by 2. Put the plus sign in there. And then the next one we look at is going from 3 to 6 is going up by 3. And then the next one's going from 6 to 10, which is an increase of 4. So again, right away you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh, that's probably not going to have a constant rate of change. But now let's look at the input values. So that's increasing by 3, so that's plus 3. This is increasing by 3. This is increasing by 3. This is increasing by 3. So in terms of the rate of change, this rate of change here, this is a change of 1. This is a change of 3. So change in y over change in x is going to give you a ratio of 1/3. And that's what happened here. Well, if all the other rates of change are 1/3, then it would be linear. Well, let's look at the next one. From here to here, that was a change in the y's of 2, and it was a change in the x's of 3. So that would be a rate of change of 2/3. So see how that's not the same as the first one? If we continue looking at the next ones, the next one went from 3 to 6. That's a change in the y of 3. The change in the x here is 3. So 3 over 3 would give you 1. And the change here would be 4 over 2, which gives you 2. So clearly this one also is nonlinear. And that's because both of These examples had a varied rate of change. We didn't have a constant rate of change the same. Take a look at this one and let's see if this one represents a linear function. So again, what you need to be thinking about is if all the change in y over change in x values, like when we find slope, is the same. If that constant rate of change is there, that's how we know that we are going to have a linear function. So when I look at this one, this is decreasing, so it's a little bit different. So that's decreasing down by 3. This is decreasing down. Let's see, 5 minus what would be 2? That's what you'd want to be thinking about. Well, 5 minus 3 is 2. And if we go from here, that's a little bit trickier because you got that -1. But if you do 2 subtract 3, that gives you -1. And if you do -1 subtract 3, that gives you -4. So we're on to something here because now we could see so far that the change in the y's are the same. Well, we must see that the change in the x's are the same as well for us to say that this is linear. So this is going from -10 to -5, right? So this time this one's increasing. That's an increase if it goes from -10 to -5, and that's an increase of 5. From -5 to 0 would be an increase in 5 of 5. From 0 to 5 would be an increase of 5. And of course, from 5 to 10 would be an increase of 5. So what we see here is that every change in the output over the change in the input, okay, like rise over run, is the same. So every one of these, the change here over the change in that, the change here over the change in that, they all are the same. So this has a constant rate of change, which means that this table is representing a linear function. You do have to take the time to actually look at the ratios, okay? Because sometimes you may have values over here that are different, same here, but when you do the ratio of them, they actually end up the same. Okay, so just looking at this is what I showed you yesterday. You could see the difference, and they show you the equation at the top, so you could definitely tell which one's linear or nonlinear. But look at this table. You can see that as that increases, they're all increasing by 10. They're all increasing by 1. So every rate of change there would be 10 over 1. Therefore, that would be linear. But in this one over here, you've got -1.5, -0.5, -0.25. So you have -1.5 over 1, -0.5 over 1, -0.25 over 1. Clearly not the same, not a constant rate of change. Let's just look at a couple more examples here. So circle the tables that represent nonlinear functions. So again, we want to look at the rate of change. And some of these might be trickier than others just because of what you see with the values. Okay, if you look at this one, think about what's happening with the output here. This is going from -8 to -16. So that's subtracting 8. Then subtracting, it looks like 8, subtracting 8, subtracting 8. And then this is all increasing by 1. So if all of these changes here, that change to that change, that change to that change, that change to that change, that change to that change. They're all a -8, and all of these are 1s. So this would be example of linear. If we look at this one, yes, decimals, but that's okay. So if we think about how you go from 1.5 to 2.5, does 2.5 to 5.5 do the same thing? Like that's what you basically want to make sure that you're thinking about. And again, what sometimes makes this easier though is if your tables are going up by 1s for your input. So if your input's going up by 1s, then you really just have to look at the output to help you in determining that. And that would be kind of the key to helping make this go a little bit quicker. Okay, so if you do 1.5 plus 1 to get to 2.5, to take 2.5 plus 1, that would not get you to 5.5. That's going to give you something that's different. So we could tell that right away that this one would be nonlinear. Okay, so sometimes the tables may have the input going up by 1, and that is sometimes easier to look at. If you look at this one, see how the inputs are going up by 1? So that means all of these changes are 1s. So as long as these changes are the same, then that would mean linear, but if they're not the same, that would be nonlinear. And look at it, 1 to 3, you're adding 2, 3 to 6, you're adding 3. So this would be an example of a table that would be nonlinear. Last question here, does the table represent a linear or nonlinear function? Again, see what I mean? Those input values are all going up by 1s. So if this isn't doing a constant rate of change, we know that this is nonlinear. And it goes from 5 to 6 to 9 to 14. Clearly we could tell that is an example of something that is nonlinear. But just keep in mind though, you do have to be careful because if your input is not going up by ones, you're going to want to look at the change in the y's over the change in the x to be able to determine if your table actually represents something that is linear or nonlinear. If you have any questions, please make sure that you let me know. Today you're going to focus on another IXL assignment that just focuses on the tables themselves and determining if they are linear or nonlinear. We will do a couple more practice things with this tomorrow and then probably some sort of quizzes assessment on Thursday because we won't have actual class on Friday. All right, you guys, make sure you're working on your assignments and I will talk to you hopefully soon.